Senator Sabina Perez on the show. So, with this situation coming out with Roosevelt, and even before that, some of the community groups that you're used to hearing from on build-up related issues had sent a letter and basically implored the governor to kind of call on the DOD to provide more transparency and things. And I think that they had also mentioned commissary privileges and so now with the news that came down nationally about the sailors who are going to be quarantined in 2 hotels, I know that Senator Sabina had come out with some comments about that. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Chris and Sabrina.
Good morning.
Let's just get right into it. It kind of seems like it's a done deal. So what are we going to do moving forward to kind of address the concerns, the very real concerns that you have, Senator?
Thank you, Chris. So I just wanted to clear the record that in my letter, I provided solutions that would protect the community in addition to protecting and helping provide humanitarian relief to the crew members. So I just want to be clear about that because it seems that people are construing my letter as being against the help. And so I just wanted, one of the recommendations that I had was that they should continue the quarantine, but in spaces on the base. As you know, there are many facilities that are vacant, and they have space, many acres, over 38,000 acres, to construct these temporary things that could provide a sufficient quarantine facility. So I just wanted to clear that up first. And really the primary focus for me is protecting the health and safety of our community. As you know, last week it was reported that Guam may be experiencing a breaking point in the front line, in our medical front line. We only have 15 ICU beds, and we have about 50 ventilators. So, really the best line of defense against this very dangerous virus is quarantine. And the other thing about, testing negative. So, the issue is that, there may be a period of time before a person can show in their, can show the positivity in that they're positive. So, to me, this is still, and the potential, there's false negatives in the testing. I think that this came out in one of the news questioning, a line of questioning nationally, that there were some false negatives. So I think it's important to, provide more protections. The quarantine on base, I think, still is an option that should have been pursued further. And if it's still not too late, I think I would definitely urge that to happen. Obviously, they need to disembark the ship, except for the non-essential employees, and decontaminate that. Treat the members, those that need treated, and quarantine and self-isolate as we have been doing as a community at large. I think it's ironic that people that are flying in from the Philippines are quarantined, but here we have a population that are potentially exposed, and then there are where they have facilities. There are facilities on base that can be utilized. I think that those areas should be utilized to its fullest extent, and the hotels. That opens up another possibility of spreading it to the general population. For the members that are the service members that are providing, the cleaning of their, taking out the trash, cleaning the linens, those sorts of things are potential sources of spread. And my interest is protecting the health of everybody, protecting our community, who is at a disadvantage, materially. As far as especially with our healthcare system, we don't have the capacity, and we know that there are at least 150 people that have tested positive, and that those 150 could potentially have exposed the others on the ship. So this is a huge concern, and considering that we're doing all we can to contain the spread within our community, this is not, I don't think this is a wise decision. And if it can be recalled, I really would like to urge that it happen. But given that the decision was made, what is the contingency plan? What are we doing to prioritize protection of our Manumco? What are we doing to protect? Now that we know that there's a potential to expose the community further, What is contingency plan? What are we doing to protect the community now that there's an increase in this?
So this letter was also given to the governor. So have you heard from her? I mean, she knew about this a couple days ago.
Yeah, this was just yesterday, and I did not receive a direct response.
So, Senator, are there two? So we have the Hagen letter, which is from the Chamorro Women's Group, and then you have also written letters. But you were part of this Hagen because this was 8 or 9 different community organizations that tacked their name onto this. But I just want to go back to the press conference yesterday. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but Rear Admiral John Manoni. It was like a surprise guest appearance. You know what I mean? Our jaws dropped in the newsroom.
Well, it already dropped after hearing the 3rd confirmed death.
Yes, so there was that, obviously. And then Admiral Manoni came on, and I think it was Nestor Lecanto, our reporter, asked him, what assurances can you give the people of Guam that, we won't be placed at an even greater risk? So what did you make of Admiral Manoni's response to that question? I believe he provided 2 assurances. One of them was that only sailors who test negative for COVID-19 will be allowed to quarantine at the Tumon hotels. And then I think the other reassurance he offered was that they would be quarantined in accordance with the procedures laid out in the Uniform Military Code of Justice or something like that. Yeah. So what did you make of those reassurances? Yeah,
to me, it was not reassuring. First of all, I didn't draft a letter with the group, the Hagen, is it Hagen from Malawan? Yeah, I wasn't part of that draft of that letter. Right. Yeah, so my letter was a separate thing. But to me, it's there's several things that I think are concerning. Is the testing of are they false negatives, and when did they test him? And during the time from testing to now, have they contracted it? Now that they are still in close quarters, I think we need to clarify that before any kind of movement happens. I think, again, I would like to urge that they use the facilities on base to the fullest extent possible. And then also they're closed. Things, the virus is known to last outside the body for a period of time. What about that, accidental exposure? So, are they going to come naked to the naked and negative? So, we need to make sure or decontaminate them. I mean, obviously, I don't want them to be quarantined off base, let them quarantine on base. There's enough room there. There's enough facilities there.
Well, Senator, let me just ask you, what is the difference between a sailor testing negative and a regular average Joe or Josefa Cruz testing negative? Because when they test negative out here, we send them home. And I understand your concerns about the exposure, but how do we have any faith at all in the testing if we're just going to say that even a negative result is not satisfactory to us?
Yeah, and I think in my letter I offered that solution is there's a lot of space on base. It protects them and it protects us as well. So and they can get treated at the same time. So there's no reason why we have to jeopardize the community of the health as a whole when there's other options available to us.
How come you guys haven't called out the governor on this? Because it's apparent, in the chain of events that have unfolded with the military, it's clear, I think, that the governor had been involved with negotiations with Joint Region Marianas, with the Admiral at Indo-PACOM and Admiral Manoni. So, one of the first letter, I think, from the Hagen Famalawan group really kind of painted the governor as a victim in all this and its tone, in that, DOD is making these decisions without you. But I disagree. I think the governor is a willing participant in these negotiations. And when we tried to ask her about that, the answer that we got was go ask the Admiral. And so reconciling that with national news events where we see on CNN, I mean, it's a case of like last to know that these negotiations had been going on for a few days with the governor. So we're talking about DOD, and we're taking this tone that DOD is making these decisions that we're not involved with, but the woman that we elected to represent us is involved with these decisions. So how come we're not putting more onus on the governor when it's clear that she has agreed to these things?
I think hopefully from these discussions that would come out more
Because it's all there, Senator. If you watch the media, it's clear that it's been laid out that she was involved.
And this letter is addressed to Rear Admiral John Manoni. Do you plan on sending a similar letter to the governor?
Maybe you should do like a CC kind of thing. You did?
My last letter was to the governor.
Okay.
So yesterday's letter was to the governor.
I don't think I got yesterday's letter. Did you?
Yeah, so what are we going to do next, Senator? I know you're making you just made the ask that you want to see this revoked. Realistically, that's probably not going to happen, right? So what are we going to do then? Are you just going to continue to call for more transparency maybe in this whole process?
Well, this afternoon we have a call with Rear Admiral Manoni.
Right.
So I would definitely raise those questions with him and definitely do follow-ups with the governor regarding perhaps revoking this decision, because I think I feel like they need to exhaust their options, which I feel they haven't. I mean, what have they done to do that? Really, the safety of our community should come first.
What are you going to ask Admiral Manoni? Yeah, sorry, Bri, they're doing a briefing with the Admiral this afternoon on Zoom, all the senators. Are you guys going to ask for some tests or something? I feel like this is an opportunity for the governor to kind of leverage. I know that they're bringing out some Marine doctors, and the idea, hopefully, is that they're going to stick around after and assist with whatever's going on here locally with COVID-19. But, I'm thinking that we're going to ask, you guys asked the governor to pause the buildup. She totally ignored you guys. We're going to keep asking. The answer is going to still be no. So are we going to try and leverage something out of this in terms of, hey, give us some tests? I mean, they've obviously shown the capability that they can test. How many do they test? 1,200 sailors.
Yeah, 1,200 sailors waiting for results.
I think, like you said, perhaps the transparency is not there, so we don't know what was discussed regarding that.
You don't know because the governor's not telling us. Sorry, Senator, it's just a little frustrating because I feel like transparency is needed. Yes, of course, DOD, I'm totally on board with you guys. We need to know what's happening on our island, but at the same time, we also need to let the governor know that, hey, you got to clue us in too. Don't keep us in the dark. And I just want to see that fairness,
Yeah, I mean, I addressed that in the letter as well.
Thank you.
As far as transparency, but yeah, trust that I will continue to, work to protect the community, and that that I have their interest at heart, ensuring that we can stop the spread of this disease, this very dangerous disease. And considering especially we have Manumco in our community, we need to be able to prioritize them, especially at this time.
Right, definitely, and we can see where you guys are coming from, because I mean the fear is real. We have 77 cases, 3 fatalities, and so we definitely know what place you guys are coming from. Senator, anything in closing that you want to add, or Sabrina?
No, I was going to ask if you could send the letter that you sent to the governor, because I only got the letter that you sent to Admiral Manoni.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I thought we sent it out to all media contacts.
No,
okay.
Didn't get that.
Okay.
All right,
so what are you going to do? I'm sorry, did we already cover the fact that it's more than likely that this is not going to be revoked?
Yeah.
And I think probably people are going to have to accept that.
Yeah, and I think too it shows the military, as far as security is concerned, we our security now happens to be protection from this disease, and so we need the military to understand that what they're doing is endangering our security, and that they have resources available to them, many resources that they can use to protect our island. And I've enumerated them in my letter. I've spoken on this before, and our security is the health of our community at this time. Mm-hmm. And so what they're doing is not helping our security. And as far as humanitarian aid, I in my letter I did recommend that they engage all those resources that they have. The U.S. military has superior logistic capability. And this is a time of the need of the military. Why are they not using those resources? Why are they holding back? And this is not just a Guam issue. This is a whole military-wide issue. And it should not be borne by our community alone. This is has to be this has to be a community effort, both local side and national side.
Senator, what are your colleagues saying on this? Are they coming down on one side or the other? Because it's a very complicated issue.
I haven't heard that much from my colleagues, to be honest.
Neither
Yeah,
we.
we haven't.
Yeah, neither have we.
I
No
know there's
session or
concern.
no. Hey, how'd you feel about session, by the way, Senator? Did you want to go
Yeah,
into session or?
So yeah, I'm open to distance search, virtual sessions. I think it's a wise decision. I think we're working out the kinks in regards to that, and minimizing the amount of contact, because some of my colleagues have traveled. I don't want to expose.
Oh, that's an
myself.
understatement.
I don't want to expose myself and therefore my family to
Right.
to the virus, and so I want to participate in a way that's safe, and I believe we're going to be coming out with some rules. We have to amend the rules in order to engage again. So
Right.
that will be happening shortly.
Okay, so yeah, because we're not hearing from the rules chair. It's crickets with rules chair Senator Regine Bisco-Lee. Maybe she's self-quarantining, but we really have been talking about this and how difficult it was supposed to be to do a virtual session. So yeah, we just want to know. People are hurting. We had the Vice on yesterday, and she kind of summed it up. She said, "I don't like it one bit that we're not doing anything to kind of plug the gap between today and when the federal assistance comes down." And so,
yeah, I just want to also provide some advice, some news. So I was on a conference call this morning, and so the federal government, they have some deadlines about when they're going to disperse the money, and so there's within, I believe, April 24th, they want to disperse the federal funds to the local government. So we're working very hard behind the scenes trying to facilitate that, considering that Guam is delinked in many ways from the federal government. And I'm sure the administration too is working very hard on this. So we're working to see how we can get the money to the people as quickly as possible.
Are you talking about the
considering some of
stimulus?
constraints.
The stimulus
talking
money
about
from
the CARES
CARE
package.
Okay. The with rev and tax?
Yeah, rev and tax. Also, there's many different
Department of
programs
Labor?
that labor, transportation, small businesses,
Yeah.
to pay for payroll. So yeah, to cover payroll, that is they would waive paying back some of the fees. So definitely, my office definitely is working towards getting that information out and getting the help that individuals and businesses may need.
right.
To apply
Hey,
for these things.
Senator, you got my number anytime, especially given that you're the oversight of revenue and taxation. Anytime you want to call and provide an update on any type of assistance or anything. Hey, you're no stranger, so just give us a call, shoot me a message, and we'll get you right on, right? Because a lot of people are asking about the stimulus checks, and people are hurting, man. So if you have any updates or anything to provide to us, shoot me a text, and we'll get you right on, okay?
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, I just want to clarify about my colleagues that I think there is concern about the increasing the rise in cases, but I haven't. I am working with my colleagues to put a resolution together in regards to this. So, definitely need to kind of organize behind the scenes as well.
Right on, right on. Okay, thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Senator.
All right, thank you.
Be
Take care,
Wash your hands.
guys. Likewise.
Okay, bye. There you go, Senator Sabina Perez, 821. Can we just kind of run through the numbers again?